Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
In this video, we are going to be removing and reinstalling a radiator in a 2000 Nissan Pathfinder. If you need this part or other parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. All right, we're going to pop the hood right here. Pull that lever. There's a release right here. If you go to the center and to the right a little bit, right there. I'm going to grab the prop rod. You can put it right there. All right, we're going to disconnect the negative terminal in the battery. Use a 10mm wrench. Loosen it up. Get a little looser. And we'll pull that up, set that aside. All right, pull these two clips over here. Right here, right here. There's two clips over here. And then this one gets pulled up from down underneath. Pull up. Pull the air filter up. Use a straight blade screwdriver. Pull this hose off. Over here, I'm going to disconnect the connector right here. There's a button on the back side. Push it down. Pull the connector off. It's a connector for the mass airflow sensor. Disconnect that. Little retainer right here. Pull that off. Take this clip off here so we can move the throttle cable out of the way. We'll take this one off too. And that one there. Just push it out of the way. Next we can use a straight blade screwdriver. Loosen up the worm clamp on the throttle body. Loosen this up. Pull that out of the way. I'm going to pull these hoses off using some channel lock pliers. Just pinch the clamp and then twist it back and forth. And do the same for this one. Pull this box out of the way. So I need to take this lower cover off. I have a 10mm bolt here. There may have been other bolts here. This vehicle is missing some. So I'll take this one off. I'll use a 10mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet. Over here, there's a bolt. There's one right here. There may be one right there, and right here. Pull it down. Ready? Yep. All right, so this lower part of the fan shroud has to come off. I'm going to take and grab the center right here, pull it past that little nub right there. We should be able to slide this out. Up here on the fan shroud, as you can see, there's a little tab right here. Can you see it? All right. You're going to push down on that tab, and you can pull out. That's going to release the lower part of the fan shroud. And I'll do the same for the other side. A little tricky to get your hands up in here. Let's see. And I'll take that piece off. You can rotate it, pull it down, pull it out. These little clips right here on both sides. All right, we're gonna drain the coolant. This vehicle does not have a pepcock on the radiator, so what we're gonna do is disconnect the lower radiator hose. We're gonna have something to drain the coolant into. We'll grab it. Grab this clamp with some channel lock pliers, move it to the side. And we're gonna use one of these picks, like a right angle pick. We actually sell a kit of these at 1aauto.com. You can take and get right in here, go all around the hose. That'll loosen it up. Be careful not to get it all over you. I want to take a shower in it. So once that's drained, leave that out of the way. There's a little bit of rust on this clamp up here. I'm just going to spray it with some rust penetrant before I try to take off the clamp. I'm going to get some channel locks to hold it so it doesn't twist while I'm doing this. Just like this. Loosen this bolt up. As I loosen the bolt, it loosens up on the clamp. Pull that clamp aside. All right, I can grab the upper radiator hose, twist it a little bit, peel it off. Next we're going to take this hose off right here. There's a clamp right here. You just grab it with your fingers, pinch it, and pull that off. Then we'll pull the hose off over here. That goes to the coolant reservoir, and we'll just set that aside. Next, I'm going to take this 10mm bolt out on the fan shroud with a 10mm socket and a ratchet. And we'll take this one out as well. Pull that bolt out. Then the fan shroud should be loose. All right, so I'm just gonna pull this up over here. Once I pull that up, then I'll be able to clear this hose over here. Pull it up over there. Gently pull it out. right, to pull the radiator out, I'm gonna take this. These clips are pretty rusty. These are for the transmission cooler. We'll pull these back with some channel lock pliers. Do the same with this one. Use our little pick here. Try to get in there, try to twist it. We're able to twist it and pull it out. I'm going to put a drain bucket underneath because we're going to lose some fluid. Put that out of the way. I'll do the same for this one. Twist back and forth. I'm gonna move this clamp a little more. Now we can pull it off. Pull that one back. Tip of the day, I'm going to use some earplugs and plug up this tranny line and keep it from leaking. Make sure you don't push it in too far. And do the same with this one, and that'll stop the flow of the tranny fluid while we're letting the lines off. So now we'll take these 10mm nuts off with a 10mm socket and a ratchet. This one's coming off pretty hard, so I'm just gonna work that rust penetrant back and forth a little bit because I don't want to break this stud. You can pull this bracket off. I'll do the same for this side. Pull this bracket off. Set that aside. You can grab a radiator. Pull that cardboard out of the way. Pull it straight up. Right. Slide this radiator down. There's two little mounts that you want the grommets to fit right into. Get those lined up. You're gonna take this upper radiator support. This is gonna go on like this. And there's one like this. This will go like that. And these two nuts will go on top. Just like that. Take a 10mm socket and a ratchet. We'll tighten these down. Tighten this one down. All right, we're gonna take our plug out of our transmission cooler line hose. Pull that out and then press that on here. We'll do the same with this side. Like that, and push that on. And we'll move the clamps. use regular pliers for this. And that'll be good. And same with this one. Right there. That's good. You can use a little bit of brake parts cleaner to clean that up. Now we're going to install this lower part of the radiator hose. We'll take our channel lock pliers, move this hose clamp. There's a little marking on the radiator hose right here that shows that goes to the bottom. So that's going to go like that. Now we're going to put our radiator fan shroud on. Just slide this over. It's a little bit tight over here. Just snug it under here. Just like that. There's some pins. It lines up down here. And then same on the other side. Make sure that's in. And then we'll put the 2 bolts in. Take this bolt right here. And then this one right here. We'll tighten these 2 up with a 10mm socket and a ratchet. Same with this one. Put this hose on, the upper radiator hose. Get this clamp lined up. Down. Use a 10mm ratchet and tighten this down. Make sure that's snug. Pull this throttle cable down. Click that in place. And then this goes in over here. Like that. Take the air filter. Stick the air filter back in. We'll take the air box. It's gonna slide in under here. Yep, there we go. Click that in there. Click this in here. Click this right here. And click this one right here. I'll click this hose on here. And there's another coolant hose. This goes to your overflow. This gets clipped in over here, here. Pushed on there. And then this is gonna go right here. Connect that snorkel to the throttle body and these 2 little breather hoses. Grab my pliers, squeeze this, and I can put that on there. And then this one can go on here. this clamp with my channel lock pliers. Oops. Push that on. I'll take this. I'll tighten that up right here. Tighten this up. Worm clamp up with an 8mm socket and a ratchet and extension. Make sure it's all the way down. Looks good. Snug that up. This goes underneath this clip, just like that. Oh. This wire right here goes over to here. This clip wasn't broken, it would secure right there. And then this plugs into the mass airflow sensor, right like that. All right. Now we're gonna put this lower fan shroud on. Get this lined up here. Get the top part lined up. And that'll clip in. This will clip in. And then this one should clip in. There it goes. It's locked in. Make sure that tab's in there. That's good. Put this lower shield back up. This shield does not have all the bolts, so you may have more than what we have here. You may have bolts there, there, and there. This one does not have those bolts. Oops, put this one here. Good. Now we're going to connect the negative post to the battery. Tighten it up with a 10mm wrench. Okay. Now we're going to want to add our coolant. You can use a funnel. Add your 50-50 mix of coolant in there, and we're going to fill it up and then bleed it. Whenever you replace any internal engine components or you're draining the coolant for any reason, you're going to want to add your coolant here into the radiator. You cannot add the coolant just in the reservoir because the engine will not get any of the coolant. So add it to the reservoir. If you're checking your engine coolant on a regular basis, you can just check the reservoir and top that off. And we're going to add our 50-50 mix of coolant and water. As we're adding this, it's a good idea to look underneath the vehicle and check and see if there's anything leaking out. Ours looks good. Okay, so there is some air in the system still, even though we have this coolant all the way filled. The radiator is full of coolant. The engine still has some air pockets in it. what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the vehicle and let the engine run for about 10 minutes. All right, so we let the vehicle run for about 10 minutes. As you can see, the coolant temperature, we want to keep monitoring it while we're letting it run. We want it about halfway in between the cold and the hot. This vehicle doesn't have temperature readings, so you just have to use your best judgment. If you start seeing it go up to about 3/4 above, not in the halfway mark, you're going to want to stop, shut the vehicle off, let the vehicle cool down, and then re-bleed it, recheck your levels, and start over. All right, so we let the engine run for about 10 minutes, and the engine got up to operating temperature, and the thermostat opened, and all the air bleeded out of the engine and came out our funnel, and everything's all bled, everything's good. So at this point, what I'm gonna do is with this funnel, stick this plug in here, and then I can pull the funnel up and make sure the level is right up to the top of the radiator. And with the engine still hot, I will put this radiator cap on, and we will let the engine cool down. We are gonna wanna check before we just let it cool down the coolant reservoir and make sure the coolant reservoir has enough coolant in it. I like to go about 1 inch above the fill line when doing this procedure, because it is gonna suck back in some more coolant, and then you can adjust it once the engine is cool. So I'm gonna add this coolant to the reservoir. If you don't have one of these funnels, that's okay. When you're bleeding the system, you can leave the radiator cap off while you're running the engine. You're just gonna have to monitor it closely so that you don't lose coolant. So you're gonna have to stand here with your coolant bottle and keep adding coolant. And if it starts coming out, then shut the engine off and start the bleed procedure again.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.